Hello friends, Adam here with FED. So, I asked everyone to give me their most egregious Fire Emblem opinions. Opinions that are just, they think are bad of their own. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about most of these. So this is coming from the Discord, FED Discord. You can find the link to that in the description of this video. So please click on that if you want to be a part of more fun activities such as this one. And if you want to appear in a video in a text format. So, again, hit me with your most egregious Fire Emblem opinions. I will react to them. And most of these, to be honest, guys, these aren't really that bad of opinions. Like, they're not like bad opinion. I don't know, can you have a bad opinion? I don't know. But these aren't like that bad, I'll be honest with you. They're all pretty standard stuff in my opinion. But here, so Echo's maps are good, actually. I think Echo's is a study in, like, enemy placement rather than, like, map design. So enemy placement's good, which I guess that's a part of the way the maps are made. So and there's obviously some maps that are just trash, but I think every game has trash maps. Echoes just has them in like a more concentrated fashion, like boat maps and stuff like that, all being one after the other. But there's some maps that are okay. Like that one map where you have to like siege a castle as a Celica, and there's like the swamp all around it. I'm trying to remember. It's the map right before you recruit Conrad, I believe. I like that map. There's some good ones out there, man. The final map is at least kind of interesting if it weren't for like the mogul spam. Even then, it's not that bad, but it's fun. Anna is hot. Got that from a few people. Thank you. Cool. Conquest has a good story. I mean, I think Conquest, the idea, the outline of the story isn't so bad. It is the story struggles in its writing. Like, the writing is just really bad. And it has a couple of character moments that are like insufferable. So yeah, I don't think the story is overall horrible, but I think there's like little the overarching like ideas behind it are okay. I'll agree with that. Chess is the best Fire Emblem game. Fair. Okay. Hunting by Daybreak is the best map in Three Houses. I don't think anyone actually agrees with this. Like, if you agree with this, you're a silly goose. They're Hunting by Daybreak. So this is chapter 13 of Three Houses, so the first chapter after the time skip. So Hunting by Daybreak, Reunion at Dawn. These chapters are awful. Actually awful. Because... Sorry, this is coming from a maddening perspective. On normal and hard, they're not so mean. But on maddening, it's just really mean. The enemies are really tough, and you don't get any prep. No prep. The game just says, here, deal with it. And it's kind of rough, especially when you may not be prepared for it necessarily. I think Golden Deer have the easiest time of it, because Claude comes as a really good flyer. But other than that, it's a rough map, man. Path of Radiance is not a good game. I have some friends that would not like that one. I disagree. Actually, you know what? Path of Radiance is really solid up until, like, Chapter 16. At Chapter 16, the game starts to degrade and become a lot less interesting and a lot less fun to me. I think and, like, particular examples that I think are truly just, like, not fun to play are Clash. Even on just, like, hard mode, Clash is a rough one. I have a hard time wanting to go back to it thinking of Chapter 17. I don't like Chapter 17. That's the four-parter. Like, part 1 and part 2 of chapter 17 aren't that bad, but then part 3 is awful. It's just abysmal to play, and then part 4 is like okay again. But it's still not fun. It's not fun to have your main character be slowed down by permanently being rescuing someone, which is just rough. But yeah, there are quite a few chapters after the like halfway point of Path of Radiance that are pretty bad in my opinion. I shouldn't say pretty bad, but just aren't as interesting to play. Hunting by Daybreak on maddening mode is easy. Alright, yeah, contrarian jerk. Celica is not stupid and Jetta is actually a good villain. I don't really have... I feel like most people believe that Celica is not stupid. I think that's just like a weird... So there's like a weird, like, loud few that thinks Celica is a bad character, but I don't know. Title is adjective? What? Whatever. Roy is better than Elwood, sure. Desert maps aren't that bad. Most of them don't have any sense. Most just don't have any sense of pace. you know, have any sense of pace. What does that even mean? Don't have any sense of pace. You're saying the game is slowing down on purpose, and that's a good thing, and people don't like that? I mean, okay. I feel like that's just a weird take. I don't really get it. Spar, defend yourself in the comments. I don't really get what you're trying to say here. It seems like a pretty bad... I don't know. I disagree. I don't think desert maps are bad necessarily either. People just don't have a sense of pace. I just think they're different. I don't know. Don't know Leon enough to feel bad for him. I kind of agree with that. Arcadia is a banger map that incentivizes you to move forward, but still tread lightly, and also explore for the good items. So is that chapter 13 or 14 of Binding Blade? You know, it has the Fog of War desert map, right? Where you get Sophia. Is that chapter 13 or 14? 15? I don't know. Somewhere around there. I don't know Binding Blade as well as I know other games. Because I don't like the GBA games as much. But yeah, I agree. I think it's not that bad. But it's not great. I don't know. Fog of War plus desert is kind of annoying. Especially when their enemy has flyers on their team. So there's like guaranteed to outrange you. I don't know. I go back and forth on it. Those who slither in the dark could be the coolest evil group if it wasn't for Three Houses Horrid writing. Oh. Interesting. Is the Three Houses writing horrid? I mean, I'm not an English major or anything like that by any means, so I would love to hear more about that in the comments. Soren is the best mage and character in the series, and anyone who thinks otherwise is wrong. Fair enough. I didn't have anything to say to that. It was pretty definitive. Edelgard did nothing wrong. False. She's a bad person. She kills people and stuff. Strongest Effie complaint is that Crimson Flower was so rushed that it's not controversial at all. People all kind of believe that. Sacred Stones is the most boring game in the series, along with Birthright. Again, agree. Hard agree. Sacred Stones bores me to heck and back. Swords are the best weapon in Three Houses. I'm not gonna agree with that because I think they're like bows exist. And also you have things like gauntlets and stuff like that. But swords have some really good combat arts, namely Windsweep. But I think swords might be honestly one of the worst weapon types in Three Houses, if I'm being honest. So I see what you're trying to say, but I don't necessarily agree. Oh, I skipped one. People make Thracia 776 sound harder than it is. It is a hard game, but when people talk about the game, they make it out to be absolutely crazy. But it just has some weird mechanics you need to get the hang of. Also, the door key problem on blind playthroughs. Okay, I never struggled with my blind playthrough, the door key problem thing. Everyone says the door key problem. I never had a problem with door keys being an issue. You just need to play different. You just need to play differently, or not let your thief die, both of them. And not lose your lockpicks, which that's the thing. I guess it could happen. It just didn't happen to me, so I don't have a whole lot of respect for that complaint. But overall, yeah, FE5 isn't as bad as people say it is. Just play it. It's a good game. Conquest is better than Genealogy. True. That is just fact. FE7 is boring even outside of Lund mode. Facts. Byleth should be named Byleth. You know what? You do you, buddy. I kind of like changing his name, though. Or her name. GBA Fire Emblem is overrated and FE9 is better. Dude, these takes I all agree with so far. These GBA takes are good. Fire Emblem Fates is more fun than Awakening. Yeah, I think it's more fun for me personally too. Cypher is better than Heroes. That's not even a hot take. That's just sweet truths. Goodness. Because Cypher is dope and Heroes is lame. Play Cypher. Heroes is boring. Fire Emblem Heroes is good, canon, and fun. Is it canon? I mean, what's canon in stories? I don't know. Discussing canon in these fictional universes that are barely connected is so funny to me. So, sure, they're canon. Who cares? And it's fun. Good for you. Martha has a personality. Yeah, if Milquetoast is a personality. I'm just kidding. I like Marth a lot. He has some moments that are really good, but overall, he's kind of a boring dude, let's be honest. I prefer Awakening, but I had more fun with Fates. Okay, whatever. Gauntlets are overrated in Three Houses. Their proficiencies are geared towards slower units who can't be speedy enough to really make use of them. What do you mean be speedy enough to make use of them? The point of them is that they always double. Oh no, you don't quad? It doesn't matter. You just double. You double and have high strength and kill with them. I think bad take. I don't agree. We do repairs. False. You are false, sir. Or ma'am. Or person. Master Enix. Warp skipping is lame. Oh, with the hot takes. The hot takes. Dang it, Master Enix. I have to disagree with you. Pretty hard here, bud. I love warp skipping. I think it's fun. I think it's fun. Makes the game fun to me. But hey. That's your bad opinion. That's okay. You can have your own opinion, even if they're super wrong and bad. Felix and Balthus are the only gauntlet units worth using. False. Telius is overrated and only really liked because it has 2 games. Only one of the two... and it's only really liked because it has 2 games. Only one of the 2, Radiant Dawn, is actually a decent game, while the other, Path of Radiance, is one of the worst Fire Emblem games to ever come out, gameplay-wise. What? Have you played FE1, 2, 7, 8, 6? I don't know. I just think Path of Radiance gets a lot of hate because of how slow it is. And yeah, I wish it wasn't so slow, don't get me wrong, but I think it gets more hate than it deserves. For that, personally. If the game, why has no one made like someone needs to make a patch for it, a hack for it, or a mod that just makes it so you can the animations have like really fast, or just really skipped really fast or something. I would pay someone to do that. If someone knows how to do that, reach out to me, because that'd be super cool. Like if someone would be willing to figure it out, like reach out to me, like really, we'll talk. Best map in 3 houses is Chapter 17 of Crimson Flower. That's the map where spoilers for 3 houses Crimson Flower now. That's where that's the one where like you fight Dimitri and Dedu turns into a monster and stuff, right? I think that's actually a pretty fun chapter. Byleth can beat Goku. False. I don't know. Why not? It'd be funny. Makes people mad. Yes, you can. He can. Haha. Having a cool tech does not make a good unit. Being a good unit means you do not need a huge setup requiring other units to set up the tech and defenses for said unit. Ergo, Bernadetta is a bad unit whose growths, proficiencies, and stats are worse than Cyril. You have to baby her to set up to use said tech. And I'm assuming you're referring specifically to Vengeance. The problem with that is that Vengeance is so easy to set up. I get what you're trying to say, but Vengeance is so easy to set up, you know? That I don't know if I agree with that statement necessarily. I do think that the sign of a good unit in like a casual sense, or a casual playthrough of Fire Emblem, is just being ease of use is a really big factor that gets overlooked by a lot of people. So yeah, ease of use is a really good thing, and that's what you're saying. And yeah, so I agree with the ease of use thing. Bernadetta, yeah, she's not the greatest unit ever, but Vengeance is funny and people like Vengeance, so okay. CF is your favorite 3 houses route, and you think it does a good job of telling a complete story despite what others may think. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I think that Awakening has a good story, and that Hunting by Daybreak is literally the best map in the game. Boo, false. You know, Awakening has a good story for the first third. And the second third is even okay. The last third is I'm just like, what? Shadow Dragon has better map design than Conquest. I think there are a few standout maps in Shadow Dragon, but overall, I don't think that's true. Erica isn't an idiot. Her naivety? Naivety? I don't know. Is perfectly in character. It makes sense in the context of the overall story. Leon is one of the series' best villains. Okay, so they're all different takes. Okay, so Erica isn't an idiot. Sure, I mean, like, maybe she is an idiot, but in story, I don't know. People really get on characters who make mistakes in video games and just stories in general, but it's like, if it's in character, then yeah, whatever. I mean, of course you would trust Leon. It's her childhood best friend, you know? Like, yeah, she might have made a mistake, but she was just doing what she thought was right at the time or something. Leon is one of the series' best villains. I think a lot of people believe that. The Radiant Dawn's Part 4 maps are perfectly fine. There's really only 2 or 3 that there's only really like 1 or 2 of them that I have a big problem with. I don't like the one with Oliver. That one's a pain. It's just tedious and long. And I'm not a huge fan of the Lagoose Swamp. Yeah. Because I want to send my flyers to the desert, but not having at least one flyer aside of like going with to barn in that map is just rough. So yeah, I get it. Like, especially one that can one around the lagoons, you know? Yeah. Alright, so F-15 has bad writing. Alright. Robin is the best avatar in the series. I think a lot of people agree with that, and I might agree. I'm not sure, though. Alright, let's find some good ones here. Claude is the side character who is a lord. That's funny. Awakening follows the perfect... no. Alright. I don't think that 3 houses gave the player too many divine pulses. I agree with that up until you can start just like unlocking them from different stuff. I think if the game, like if it capped out at like 5, I think it would be a lot more reasonable. And I think overall the game kind of balances around how many you have until you can start unlocking them and the game doesn't know how many you have. You know, like the creators. So like there's different twists and turns. Like if there's an ambush spawn, the game kind of expects you like, oh, you should have a divine pulse still, use it here. And yeah, I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, I made a video about that actually. I think I tend to agree with that statement. Dimitri is the worst character in 3 houses. Don't like his storyline. Hate the Blue Lions route. Feels purely Dimitri focused in the second half as Ramon. Even before he goes crazy, I don't like him. He's boring with hints of something interesting. I mean, I don't know. I guess I relate to Dimitri a little bit, so I don't... Yeah, I think a lot of people do. A lot of people who struggle with mental illness really relate with Dimitri, and I think that's where it comes from. So, if you don't like him, I get it, but I do. Conquest isn't that hard. People are just bad at it. Conquest, like Fates in general, is deceptively different from other Fire Emblem games. So I see what you're saying. I think that's a really funny take. I agree. Normally that's just kind of like a mean thing to say, but yeah, I think people are just really bad at manipulating the pair-up system. Demonic Beasts are good unless it's maddening, where you're just annoyingly... where they're just annoying, especially with powerful enemies surrounding you most of the time. I don't think Demonic Beasts are that bad, especially when you take gambits into account. So, bad take, I disagree. Fog of War is an interesting mechanic that can be fun, and 3 houses didn't have enough of it. I mean, 3 houses also just gives you tons of torches. And on maddening, it's not as fun because enemies are so powerful. On lower difficulties, yeah, I agree. Lucina is hardly a lord. I mean, her class is literally lord, though. So I don't know what that's. I don't know what you're trying to say there. Conquest Corn is actually not a bad character. Does some dumb stuff and weird stuff, and so like just is again. I don't think it's a bad character, just bad writing. 3 Houses is very enjoyable. Yeah, I think so too. I prefer using the best character stat-wise than more enjoyable character-wise. I mean, I think I do too as well. Ambush Reinforcements is only balanced with Divine Pulse. I don't want to say that it's only like ambush Reinforcements. People complain about them a lot, and I go back and forth on whether or not I hate them or not. I like them all right, but I see the complaint. I do. I get ambush spawns are annoying, but I don't know. It's pretty rare that they are like so bad that they just automatically make you lose the game when they appear. Might you lose a unit? Sure, and in most games that's okay. Losing a unit isn't that bad, but unless you're trying to go for a perfect run or something, and some people really hate losing characters, I get that. But overall, I don't think it's that bad. And but Divine Pulse, I do agree that Divine Pulse really works around it, and I think that's part of the reason you have Divine Pulse is to work with that. And it's a good thing. Fire Emblem Cypher should have had a mobile game instead of Heroes. True. Lucina isn't a lord. Yeah, she literally is. It's her class. False, guys. False. Avatars in Fire Emblem aren't innately bad. Realistically, any avatar can be done well in a future title or remake. If done correctly, it's just Intelligent Systems hasn't made one work because they are too worried the player isn't involved with the plot, which an avatar should instead be just another soldier in the army that lets the player experience the world firsthand without stealing the spotlight from the main hero and perhaps a small handful of lines in the story most. Okay, that's not... I just agree. I think we're getting to the end. Okay, we got a couple more that are actually at me, and I'll read these. GBA Fire Emblem is boring. Facts. Conquest is the best class system in the series. Fates in general, I agree, yeah. Ike was a Mary Sue even back in Path of Radiance. Coming from someone whose username is Makalov is #1. That's really great. Ike was a Mary Sue even in Path of Radiance. I mean, he does... I don't know if he's a Mary Sue. I don't think he's a Gary Stu, like, at all. He's kind of just... I don't know. I guess you think about it like... He's the most gifted swordsman in the world, and he was trained by the best swordsman before him, and his rival is the other best swordsman of all time, and he can literally fight and defeat anyone in a fight, regardless of who they are. He kills God. I kind of see what you're saying, but it's also like shown that he trains really hard. I mean, that's kind of the point, you know. He's like he's like the hardest worker too. Is the way it's supposed to be. So like, I see what you're saying, but I don't know. FE peaked with the GBA games. Okay, this I don't get. This in particular, I do not get. I've seen people say this before. Fire Emblem did not peak with the GBA games. If anything, it dipped. It got rid of so many interesting mechanics that the games had been developing up to that point. And I realize it's because it was you know, maybe a new director or whatever, different team working on it, so they didn't maybe weren't as experienced. I don't know. Just didn't do as much of what I, you know, as much of what I like in, say, Thracia, even Genealogy, or FE3. So I disagreed that FE peaked with the GBA games. I just blatantly feels false to me, but because I feel like it's just not nearly as good. I don't know. I'm gonna call it there unless I have anyone else that actually added me. Oh, okay. Here's another one that added me, and we'll end here. FE3 is the best way to experience Marth's games. I think it's the best way to experience Marth's story. Aside from I think Shadow Dragon actually does a great job. But I think it's the best way to experience Marth's story in its purest form. But it's not the most fun way to play the games. Shadow Dragon and New Mystery are way more fun to play than FE3 ever will be. Just stop trying to like get your hipster trash opinion out of here, Matt. FE3 is a good game, don't get me wrong, it's awesome, but Shadow Dragon and New Mystery are just way more fun to play by like a mile. So, all the quality of life improvements, and then also just the game just feels tighter, it feels better. I don't know, that's just me, whatever. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to comment your thoughts. Give me some of your most egregious Fire Emblem opinions. Notice I didn't say unpopular opinions because I hate that. Because when you say unpopular opinions, everyone just kind of spews out opinions that aren't even unpopular. So just give me your opinions. I'd love to hear them. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time, friends.